We started a live video, so we're successful there. So mine doesn't do that.
I feel like I'm on a rocking horse outside of an Ingles in 1996.
Or in a playground in Italy in 2020.
Oh yeah, you did do that.
Oh, I did. Yes.
That really happened.
It feels
I thought
really
I was
nice.
gonna flip off. Anyway, I don't know. It's been quite a day, but you guys, one of you probably saw our videos that we did. So I gave the girls a project to answer a question that I gave them and myself, as if we were being interviewed by someone, just because then we don't have to type, really. And so you could see our whole demeanor as we're talking about it and see that it is from the heart. And we all had different answers, but sort of on the same wavelength.
Heart connection.
Yeah. Different ways too, that we want to be here for you guys. I just want to make sure that all one of you know that. I know I keep saying that, but really, I'm spitting. That we're here for you, and on Instagram, if you feel like asking any questions, I'll make Elizabeth get up there. No, I'm kidding. It'll be really funny.
We should get some binoculars to be able to see it.
To do the Q&A.
Yeah. Or one of you can go on to the live on your phone and
we might get an echo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what happens on Teams.
See what happens. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. It'll be exciting.
Okay.
In the meantime, while
live.
She's looking, there we are. Well, we'll find out. It's delayed. I love it. So we can censor. So back at Lunar. Oh, look, Rachel joined. Hey, Rachel. So back at Lunar on a different day, teaching Ashtanga. And so Elizabeth and I we talked about it too, that we're kind of going to work our way back.
We're doing like a back to basics thing in our lives, right?
Yeah.
Going back, we all did teacher training, but we did it a really long time ago. And so the things you forget.
Yes. Or, pass over.
Yeah.
And on to,
or never really learn, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just not open to it until the second or the third time around.
Yes, exactly. So, poor Mandy, the owner of Lunar, she came to Ashtanga, and we you did fine. I had to walk around with my book too, my cheat sheet. But we were going over, and I don't want to make it all Sanskrit by any means, but I want to kind of sprinkle a little in there, and but make sure it's not intimidating, which I don't think it will be. It's a very friendly, humble.
And I think if you say the Sanskrit and then what the Sanskrit word means, I think it's playful, informative, not intimidating.
And people can learn that way.
Yeah. Unless you're like Ashto and then you're just like Muladhara and you don't speak any English, that's kind of intimidating. But I don't think you're going to do that.
No.
Well, I think there's also, for me, there's the piece about getting it right? The respecting and loving the culture and working to get it right. Rachel and I have been looking up Sanskrit from people who speak Sanskrit so that we can hear the accent and make sure that we're intoning the words properly. And it's so hard. Like my ears don't hear it the way they say it. And so I have to work and work and work. And then I say it and Rachel's like, no, that's not it yet.
It's just,
that I learned it different. I was going to say, before you said that I had been really thinking about it and came up with, you go up to where I'm from, and when I go, my accent changes back to the way it used to be. So there's different accents and dialects of the Sanskrit, just like there's different names in English for each pose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I was not born and raised in Georgia. I was born in New Jersey. My dad was Coast Guard. We moved all over the country, spent most of my time in Texas. But I moved here 2014, and I still cannot say our county properly. Like, if I say Forsyth in front of people who were born and raised here, they say, that's not how you say it.
How do you say it?
I can't do it.
You say it like this.
Forsyth.
Forsyth. But that's because, everyone not from, because I'm from Gwinnett and moved to Forsyth when I was 14. And we said Forsyth. Everyone in Georgia says Forsyth except people from Forsyth.
Forsyth.
So it's not just you.
But my two stepkids are from Forsyth.
And they say
it the Forsyth way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we live in Forsyth County.
Yeah,
like,
you're
that's
saying
not
it
where you live.
Yeah, it is. You're saying it right. We're all saying it with an accent. So because if there's like actors and people in history named Forsyth, and it's widely known that you pronounce it Forsyth. And I think that's the respectable way to pronounce it. But the way to pronounce it, I guess, if you're native, because I started saying Forsyth after a while because I was like an alien.
Because you get corrected.
You get corrected, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like endearing, I guess, but people are very passionate about it. You know?
Yeah.
That's like people pronounce the city that we live near, Cuming.
Well, would you want to
say? Just don't want to say the other one.
No one wants to, except for Big Peach.
Except for the
running
in the coffee shop that I work at, where they have "I love Cuming" shirts everywhere.
That's what they have at the running place too.
People literally come in just for that, and they'll leave when we're out of them. They're like, okay.
You want to wear that?
Like,
when I first moved to Alpharetta in 2005, I was really young, and I had never met Cumming, Georgia. And so when I saw the sign, I thought it was hilarious. Like, I took pictures of all the road signs. I sent it back to my friends in Texas. I mean, and then I moved here.
Yeah. It's like, did they not know? I guess that term came after it came. I didn't do that on purpose, but that's good.
That was.
That's what she said.
Amazing. That's so funny.
I feel like we need to save that for a clip at a later date.
Yeah, welcome to Cuming. That's what.
But that was the long way around of working on our Sanskrit and trying to make sure we get it right. And then you're right, having some grace with ourselves, because there are a lot of different pronunciations.
It's very hard. And people, you said struck me, is that I don't think people speak Sanskrit really. Like, I'm sure that there are some like people, but for the most part, I feel like it's almost like Latin, you know? And because it's so ancient. And what I wanted to say about it was my experience. I'm like a weird, I'm starting to learn this about myself. I can mimic very well.
Okay.
Like my friend from Poland was like, say this or whatever. And I said it and she started dying laughing. She was like, you sound like a native and you're you. And it's like, you know, so I pick up the pronunciation pretty well, but also from what source am I mimicking? So because when I was learning the opening mantra, not the Ganesha mantra, what's it called? The opening mantra for Ashtanga, I was I think it is the Ganesha one. Anyway, I was listening over and over and over and over. It was almost like a fun competition with us because every day she would call on someone different to lead us in the chant. So we memorize it, and it took me, I went back to like feeling like the stress of being a young student where I was like, I have to do this. And it was fun. And in the shower, I was listening.
Multiplication tables.
It was like, I'm memorizing it, like washing and like singing it. And I found that if I didn't record my teacher doing it, because she has really, really good Sanskrit pronunciation and enunciation. So that's why I think I picked up on it pretty well. But when I go to the shower, because I didn't record her, and play it on my own time, I've had to use like Spotify or YouTube or something, and every single one was a little bit different. Yeah. So when I do it in class, and you could hear where I would do someone else's accent, and I'd be like, okay, like, so you're doing great. I haven't even heard, but I'm saying like literally everybody sounds a little bit different with it.
Well, I think the thing I'm very conscious of is that I have taken years of Ashtanga classes from American teachers, and I want to make sure that I am infusing some Indian teachers into my.
That's so important. There's this, I should look it up for the show notes, but there's this couple that I've gotten served on my Instagram videos that do their Ashtanga practice, like the full series. Mm-hmm. So they do all the like really cool stuff, and they're Indian, and it's been serving me more and more Indian practitioners. Mm-hmm. With very, very heavy accents, and their pronunciation, same. Yeah. It's so rich and beautiful, and it makes me want to pronounce it closer to it with an Indian dialect. Yeah. So I see what you're saying, and I totally agree. And also I wanted to say this about American teachers. I also realized that my teacher is, she has like a really thick accent, but she's French Canadian. So she's a white woman. Yeah. And I took her class or her training and got totally wrapped up in the guru thing and the like, okay, holier than thou kind of thing, you know, just because she had like an accent, it's like I almost didn't see her as a white woman. And so when I came back here and was taking yoga from different American instructors, I was feeling like, wow, this is so American. But it literally just clicked for me, not just, but it clicked for me after the fact that I wasn't getting any more of an authentic, I wasn't getting any more of an authentic training. She was a lot closer to the authentic training because her teacher's lineage was really close to the Patabi Joyce. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily take out the fact that she's still a white woman teaching me an Indian culture's practice, if that makes sense. So yes. I have like a lot of a balanced perspective of like, everyone is teaching from their heart and how they understand the practice. And I respect that. But I think it is good to go find some Indian practitioners and listen to their teachings. And because there's something, it's in their blood, it's closer to their blood, and it feels so rich. I keep wanting to say that word, and well-rounded with the practices, especially since a lot of Indian people are like with us, we're primarily Christian, they're like primarily Hindu, and that has roots right up to yoga. Yeah. So it's like, and very authentic.
Well, I think for me, it's about respecting the tradition.
Exactly.
Right? People who were raised in the tradition are going to have a different viewpoint than people who were taught the tradition. Like me, right? I didn't start doing yoga till I was 17 years old. Yeah. So like
these kids grow up with it.
Right. There's things I'm missing. Yeah. And I want to be open to that education.
Yeah, it is so cool. It's so cool, the difference. One time I was on Sani doing a practice, and I could hear, I had my eyes closed in meditation at the end of my practice, and I heard an Indian family come up behind me and just like speak. I could hear them speaking. I could hear some of the words, mm-hmm. and I could feel that they were happy that I was practicing, mm-hmm. you know? Whereas before I kind of felt a little bit like I didn't want to like whitewash it. I almost felt guilty like even doing it before because it was not my practice, you know? So I like the balance of both, I guess, like respecting it and also respecting that there are people trying to teach it from their heart. And yeah, because I had a really bad yoga experience before I went and did a training, mm-hmm. like just at random yoga studios. It was very like competitive and not, it wasn't very heart-centered. It was very fitness-minded and competitive and body shaming-ish. So I was glad to experience not write off yoga. I almost wrote it off because of those experiences. Yeah. And I'm glad I was so open to it because it's what I needed.
Boom. Yeah. I feel and this is just my perspective, but I feel really strongly like when people tell me that they don't like yoga, I like deep inside I'm like, oh, you haven't been on the right yoga yet, because there's so many different experiences with different teachers from different places. Like there is a yoga for everybody.
Yeah.
And I get sad when people have an experience like you're describing, mm-hmm. and then just say like it's not for me and turn away. Yeah. Because there's so much it can do to help.
Yeah.
With so many things.
Yeah. You can't let one experience or two or four, for me, experiences color your opinion of yoga. I didn't realize, I mean, I was also in a different mindset at the time because I was in that mindset. So it was reflected back to me, mm-hmm. and I was upset about it. So it's, in retrospect, it's like I brought that on myself And when I was ready, the right yoga found me through the not wrong, they were all for a reason, but just through the unlikely paths.
Yeah. I like that, unlikely paths, because we all have unlikely paths, right?
Yeah. Unlikely paths, unlikely pairings. Cool.
Yes. Unlikely, really bad decision.
Yeah, totally.
And likely. No,
yeah.
For me.
I think also while we're on that, we were just talking in the garage about Ashtanga itself. For me, I love the practice, the primary series, the or the modified or whatever I do. I've always done some version of a modified primary series, but I love it because it's like something to work toward, and it's like you can use it as a measuring stick every day, and it's like progress, and it's the same. But it's not really a but. And and I've been finding my own practice again, and to me that's really important because I don't know, I've never figured out a way to articulate this, but there's this thing that happens with me when I'm in like either I'm visible to other people or I'm with other people. It's like that motivation to do it because I have like accountability some way. There's eyes on me or something. So whenever I've gone in to do individual things, I realized I had this extremely impressive discipline with working out. But like for about 10, 11 years was my gym phase, and I was addicted and like destructive, so I was in there like for a period of time. I was in there twice a day, 6 days a week for a really long, maybe like over a year and a half, and I never missed. And so obviously that's a little bit of a disordered kind of obsession pattern. That's fine for me, it was but whenever I went into COVID and I couldn't go to the gym and there was no one to see me working out, I noticed that there was a hole in my motivation. So I was like still obsessed enough to make it work. I went and bought all the resistance bands. I was doing pull-ups from the water tank thing in my condo. Like I was box jumping all over the city trying to like work out, but I felt this like fear in my body of not being able to grip weights and punish myself the way that I had been doing for so long. And I realized too, at the same time, as I started getting more comfortable with, okay, I'm letting go of a little bit of control here, I realized that when I'm alone, it's like, I don't even want to be doing this. Like, I don't even want to work out. I don't even want to do push-ups. Like, what was the motivation was a big revelation for me during that time. And so same pattern happened when I turned to yoga, and I got done with my teacher training and moved in the same town, but like further away from the ashram. It was like every morning I still got up and did it, but it was really hard. It was a lot harder. I started doing shorter sessions. And before I knew it, well, I never stopped practicing, but before I knew it, I was back to my condo in 2020 being like, same thing, different medium. Like, what's my motivation? I just want to be seen by people, I guess, or, like, the fuck, bro? Like, I was like having a talk with myself, like, what is it that I want out of this? And I've been experiencing that again lately, because I've gotten busier, so I haven't been going to the studio as much. And that's like my guardrail of like, I go to the studio at the same time every couple of days, and I know I'm going to move. But it's different when I'm on my own. There's no guardrail for me to click into and just flow. It's like I have to think and move. So I've been practicing that for the last month or so, is getting on the mat and just doing it. But the funny thing is, I'll get on the mat and I'll just stare at my feet for like 10 minutes, and just roll my head around. And like, I don't know, like, there's like something preventing me. But I kind of feel like that's the point of yoga, is for me to get in that uncomfortable place and face myself and accept that, like we said in the garage, maybe you do just need to do 10 minutes and that's what your body's asking for, and then be okay with it. And that's been something I'm tangibly working on this last month.
Yeah.
And it's felt really good. And I text these ladies all the time. We text like overshare a lot of like what I'm doing. But I've told y'all that I've been noticing that I'm getting really proud of myself because I'm starting to see that, and Elizabeth and I spoke about this on Sunday, that I feel good and energetic, and it's like I'll ride my bike in the morning, or I'll do some weights, and then I'll do yoga, and then 5 o'clock rolls around for a class, and I'm like, I'm gonna do the class. But lately I've realized that, okay, I've done enough today, and I'm slipping into an old, like, beat it into me pattern, and it feels really nice, and my body responds almost with gratitude that I don't push it too far. And then there's also a couple days sometimes where I won't do any movement and I'll start to feel stiff. So I'm like, I need to stretch. So I'll do that. But I don't do it with the like beating myself up. Like, I can't believe you didn't do a full series this morning, So long rant, but I just feel so grateful to you guys for being on your own journeys, because whatever you're going through with your yoga practice has been permeating into my field. And I feel like the discussions that we have helped me let go. So we talked about today too, is letting go of just any expectation or any like plan that I think I have to do movement wise every day. It's like the yoga part is instilled enough to where I can allow things to just happen. And sometimes I'm flowing and I'm like dancing and I'm like, I'm going to do the full primary series, even though I can't. Like, but then there's some days where I'm just like staring at my feet for 10 minutes, and both of those are yoga. And like, I get something out of both of those kind of feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about, like, I've been playing with the phrase, it's all yoga. Because yoga is burning through the samskara to break down the patterns and figure out how to get closer to enlightenment, right? Mm-hmm. So it can be doing the primary series, it can be sitting in meditation, it can be doing our strength training workouts. Like, I don't have to always do this thing that looks just like this every day at the same time, right? It's everything that's happening all day long is my yoga. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at it that way, it helps me to be like, just getting through this life is yoga.
That's what I like to tell people that don't like yoga. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, you're doing yoga right now, and you didn't even know it, because it is all yoga. And so I love seeing your Instagram posts that are like, it's all yoga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's finally getting through to me.
Well, and I think the patterns, right, the samskara that we talk about, we all have them. Yeah. You're talking about the abuse and the punishing yourself. I do a little of that. Those are the patterns we have to break down, exactly. Right? And the way to break it down is to know about it. Like, first you have to know about it so that you can burn it.
And it kind of hurts getting to know those parts of yourself. Yeah. So maybe we don't mistake the pain of feeling these things arise with failing or needing to act differently. It's like, we're doing it right when these things arise. They're coming up to be cleared.
Well, and this whole, and I believe it's a westernized concept of, we should love it. We should love working out. We should love doing yoga. Everything should be wonderful. Like, no, it's not all wonderful. Some days it sucks. And some days yoga is like curling up in a ball and bringing the covers back over my head because I got to cry for a little while. Like, that's yoga too.
That is, yeah. Allowing yourself to experience what you need.
Yeah. Like, right now in this moment, I feel this, and I can put words to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look what we just did in the garage.
Yep.
Totally. We did not do Ashtanga.
We laid on our yoga mats. We moved our feet. Like, everybody was doing some movement of some sort.
It was yin-ish.
Yeah.
It was yin-ish, but we were...
It wasn't lead.
We were verbal yogaing.
Mm-hmm. Just by sharing what is alive for us today, basically. That's what I would say. What's alive in what's top of mind? Yeah. Sharing that, and it like transmuted while we shared.
Yeah. And we were talking about guilt.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about that, because we had a great little...
Are we going to continue the live, or have we done
No, we're done with the live. We're done with you.
One meet us on the podcast.
shared. They'll buy the hearts.
That works. So we made it. Woo. But anyway, guilt.
Guilt and shame.
Yeah, guilt. I didn't get into. I know that those are their cousins, but I didn't talk to shame today. I'm trying to treat them like they're parts of me, you know, like that I experience sometimes. It's like guilt is something I've been working on lately, and I'm trying to figure out where it is in my body, and it's definitely a heart squeeze, because fear and shame are like a burning, like fiery thing that like crawls up my neck. It's like something from Jurassic Park that isn't friendly, but guilt is like so subtle for me, and it's like a thin layer all around me that I'm like encased in constantly. And this last couple weeks, I've been really noticing, without trying to pay attention to what kind of emotions I'm feeling, it's been like coming up into the forefront to be seen. Where it's like guilt, it's like loud. Guilt, this is guilt.
Here. Pop.
What you're feeling right now is guilt. It's like my body's like yelling. And I feel good about that because it's something that I can now put on the table and like analyze and watch and work with. And I say work with instead of running away from or trying to get rid of, because guilt is something to me that's, again, it's a lot more subtle, and it's not as like I want to say astringent. It's like not as astringent as the sting of like immediate shame where it like burns in your cheeks. To me, it's just like, hey, you want to be part of me? And I'm always like, sure. But like, it's something that I'm learning that it's like more fleeting too than shame. I feel like shame like burns from deep within. And I don't know. I think what I said today during our yoga was that Alan Watts said something about guilt, that it's inevitable that humans feel guilty all the time, or not all the time, but like frequently. And a lot of people say, how can I get rid of my guilt? Or like, why do I feel guilty? Something must be wrong with me. I don't want this. And he said, well, you can go on worrying about guilt, or you can just feel it and not worry about it. And then he's like, and then they'll say, well, I need to worry about it because I don't want this. He says, well, then worry about it. It's all the same. Worry about feeling guilty, or just feel it and don't worry about it. And that struck a chord with me because I was riding my bike and the wind was whipping, and it felt, and the river was stagnant in some parts and flowing in the other parts. And I was just like, okay, look, it's a little bit of both, man. Like, the river's going to start flowing again eventually. And like, just because that part's stagnant doesn't mean I need to sit in it and be like, well, I'm a swamp bitch now. Like, I can like keep walking through the river and there'll be like some movement. So yeah, it feels like one of the, and I had an awesome therapy session today. And she said, make friends with it. And then she said, have you seen Inside Out 2? And I said, not yet. And she said, it's so accurate about, I've seen the first one, and it's so accurate about how they sort of personify and put a color on emotions. And, you know, the anger is like explosive and red all the time, but like endearing because he just wants to be seen. It's like guilt is just another one of those. And the point I'm trying to drive home is that the fact that it's so kind of insidious and everywhere, it's like, it doesn't feel like something that can be gotten rid of. It feels like it's like who I am. So what I've learned today is that it is a part of me that can be kind of put over here, that comes up, and it needs to be acknowledged, just like anger or any kind of emotion. It doesn't need to be ignored. So I'm working on where I feel it, and I'm kind of preparing myself for the discomfort of that specific emotion and preparing myself to open to it. Because it's just like any lower vibrational emotion. If you ignore it, it probably is going to fester. But if you let it wash through you with an open heart and a clear mind, typically it allocates where it needs to go.
I've done a lot of work with guilt and shame, over the last 10, 15 years. And a year and a half ago, we went to that retreat, and I learned the tapping tool. So And my guilt shows up in the middle of the night. Like I wake up and it's there and I'm thinking about how I should have done something different or I should have, and it's weird things, right? Like I feel guilt about things other people did because I should have, like, I could have stopped it if I had done something different. And the tapping really helped me because it gave me a tool to manage in the moment and be able to go to sleep. But in like the last 2 weeks, it's back, and it's like I'm interested in it because it's like, oh, I thought I solved you. And to your point, I don't think there is a solving.
No, it's an acceptance.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and we had talked about like years ago when I would wake up with that feeling, I would pray to God and I'd say like, please forgive me, please take this away. And years later, around the time I discovered the tapping, I switched that to like, he's forgiven me. Like, this is about me. How about I let it go?
Or how about I forgive you?
Right. I forgive myself.
Yeah.
For thinking that was your responsibility to shoulder that for someone else.
Yeah. So I haven't solved it yet, but still working on it.
Today's day one for me. When it rears its head, we'll see. My therapist said, just come here, pal. You can be included. It's okay. That's what she said. And I was like, all right. So,
yeah,
I think it's one of those things that it's inevitable that we're going to experience it. Not all the time, but frequently because it's so human. But it's like I said earlier, like the letting go. Like it's something that I grip onto in some place in my body where we brace. Like, and we all have our own pattern. It's like, I can let that go. It can just pass through. Like, it doesn't have to pay the toll. Usually I'm like, hey, pay the toll. And I never let it go.
But it is it's the illusion of control.
Yeah,
like,
there's
we
no
think
control.
that if we hold on tight enough that we've got control of this. And the reality is we cannot.
In our jaws.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. In our jaws.
That's us gritting and grinding and bearing it. It's like, I can shove this. And Alan Watts, too, so funny because he said most people squeeze their rectums.
Oh, my God.
Because it's like, just get through it. And he's like, you need to just open to the flow of life. Everything is a flow. And the only thing that creates disease and all these issues is stagnancy. So if we just flow while it hurts, usually it hurts a lot less.
Absolutely.
But I've always been like, don't make it hurt anymore. And I've just been this boulder in the middle of the river being like, why can't I swim?
I've even, like, again, been working with this stuff for years. And one thing I discovered with my migraines was the minute I would feel like the precursor to a migraine, I would brace. My jaw would brace, my chin, my neck,
and it would bring it on, wouldn't it?
It makes it worse. And what I learned was that I have to relax. Like in the moment before it happens, I have to relax and I have to, the activity I do for myself is I lay down on the floor and I use a bolster and I just like relax everything. And then I tell my brain, we are okay. You don't have to create this pain. We are all right. And if I do that and I, get it soon enough, a lot of times I can avoid the migraine.
I love how you said that. I love how you said, we're okay. You don't have to create the pain. That is a great example of how our brains are so efficient. And a lot of the times we just don't understand what signals we're sending. Yeah. And it's just like, all right, boss.
It's protection.
Tensed up, ready to protect
you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send this pain so that it doesn't, whatever the
thing
is. Whatever
animal tried to kill you or whatever.
Yeah, and when I get my fairly recent with my migraines, but I can't get my chair is twisting. I can't get comfortable because it's in the middle of the night and I'm like 90% sleep or whatever, and I'm like, all right, if I just have to, and so I'm trying to avoid it. I think in my sleep instead of like waking up and dealing with it.
Yeah. Like your brain is saying, don't have a migraine. And your brain only hears, have a migraine?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but my personal experience is even in my sleep, my traps tighten up.
Me too. I meant to ask y'all about that. I'm like, literally, I feel like I'm tense in my sleep. Yeah. Like, I've been told, well, if you just relax and sleep, you're not doing all that. I'm like, I think I'm cemented into this form, man. Like, it like clicks to go down.
Oh, mine clicks.
Yeah, I have to do it when I'm going to sleep. I have I'll be falling asleep and then I'll realize that I'm bracing
Yeah, I totally know.
in my core.
Yeah, it's like let it go, my let go button.
Yeah,
and for years I thought that my core was bracing because my shoulders were weak, and so I was doing strength training to try and.
But you're strengthening your traps.
Yeah. And so ultimately what I had to do is like I'll lay over the front of a bolster and just let everything fall forward. And then I'm just like, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's that very focused relaxation of telling every muscle to calm down.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
Like how much more work you have to do to relax.
I know. It's nuts.
It's yoga nidra.
Yes.
That reminds me of Harry Potter, the very first Harry Potter. There's yes. Would you like to go to Diagon? Sorry. There's the first movie or the first book. Hermione fall into these vines.
Yeah.
And she's like, you just have to relax, and then you fall right through it. But like Ron's struggling, and it's like tightening. He's like, I always think of that, and it's like if you just relax, like the body will recalibrate itself or whatever. And I mean, it's not magic, but it's like that analogy is so huge for me. It hit me in Mexico. Actually, I was like, if I just relax and use my breath, I'm like Hermione in the vines. I win. I don't get choked to death. And I love that book is like just another great example of a generational hero's journey where it's just like an anthology of life's lessons, like packed into magic. So, I mean, I've not even read any of the books. I've only seen the first like 3 movies, so I'm not a true fan, but it always pops up in my spiritual work. Mm-hmm. Harry Potter, always. And even in like spiritual psychosis, which I would love to do an episode on because I feel a lot better about talking about it. But in like spiritual psychosis, when you literally like get like busted into the spiritual world and then also don't have any grounded sense of self or self-worth, like it's a perfect recipe for psychosis. But like even in that, I'm like, I'm Harry Potter, you know? It's like, I'm like, I lived in an attic or the stairs under the, you know, like under the stairs. It's like I didn't, but I would try to like make myself be every hero from every story. And then Jesus finally, and that's when they were like, okay, you're done.
And that's when we, spoiler alert, told her about Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Actually, timeline Jesus.
Yeah, I really need to rewatch that because I don't remember.
No, it's the new one.
The new one.
It's the one that's in the theater right now.
Oh, okay.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
And the wolf. Okay. Yeah. So I obviously need to watch these things.
We went separately on the same night at the same time. And
okay.
So the next morning when we met to work out, we were like talking about the songs and the fight scenes.
Like, how'd you know?
You watched it? You watched it?
Oh, what movie were you at?
What theater?
What time?
Did you get popcorn? Or were you in like the same theater?
Different theaters.
I know it smells Mike and Ike's. That's cool. I guess I'll have to watch that or see that at some point.
It was really good.
That's a really weird synchronicity.
Yeah.
I love those. Wolf, Jesus, y'all. When did y'all see it?
Week ago.
Tuesday
night. Oh my gosh,
night.
was it the 27th? What if it was that day?
No,
it was last Tuesday.
It was the 29th. No, the 30th.
I guess I need to know.
Yes, one moment.
You can probably hear the fly.
Yes, or 2, because...
Are there 2?
So I have a bad habit that I didn't start. My husband, love you, Rich, leaves the back door open for the dogs because we have this big patio for them to just tool around on. There's like a little potty area and everything for them. And so we just leave the doors open for them to go in and out. And also...
The flies are
and the mosquitoes.
Thank you.
It was Tuesday the 30th.
Okay.
Because it was discount movie night.
It was.
Was it really?
If you're a Stubbs member, anyways.
We went to AMC.
Yeah.
Is that Stubbs? But we did Tuesday because Wednesday was Ashtanga and podcast, and Monday was something. And so we skipped yoga on Tuesday, and the family went to the movies.
Nice.
I probably had you do. I'm always like coming up with these weird, all this stuff for us to do all the time. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna
Thank
say
you.
we should check the Inside Out schedule, and if it's
Yeah.
showing like matinee on Saturday, maybe we could go.
Oh, I would love
Yeah,
that.
That would be fun.
And get popcorn.
Yeah, I would love
No,
that.
I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a corn sensitivity.
Then we won't get any corn.
Ugh.
I like, which probably
So
has corn
boring.
syrup in it, but milk does. They don't bother
Those
me.
are yum.
My favorite theater candy, I guess we should do that. Mine
Yes.
is Junior Mints.
Junior mints are good.
The best to me. I don't know why. What's your...
Popcorn is my
Oh.
thing, but I like to get popcorn and hot tamales and put them in my mouth at the same time.
Amazing. That sounds really good. I used to do
Really
popcorn
yummy.
and I put all the jalapenos and just eat like jalapenos and popcorn.
Oh,
That was
to
a
put
weird-
one before I couldn't have popcorn. Throw Reese's Pieces in.
Yeah. Yeah, or chocolate chips or something. I used to make when I had my ex and I lived together, and I would like host and do like charcuterie boards and all that shit, which I love. But I was totally that and I would do like birthday cake popcorn, so I'd do like white chocolate and like I'd always put an extract in there of some kind to like, make it fancy, and then do like rainbow sprinkles. People would go nuts, and I was like, bitch, it is the easiest thing to make. Like they thought it was so fancy, and every party they'd be like, please bring birthday cake popcorn.
Do you just drizzle it over the top?
Just white chocolate, and then just toss it, and then even it out so that it's like fully coated, and then rainbow sprinkles. That's it. Just white chocolate, man. People were like,
What is this magic?
Oh, I could do that.
yeah, it's fun. And I also had like unicorn parties, or I had one unicorn party, but while he was out of town, I had all the girls over, and I did like those little sugar wafers, and I dipped them in like pastel white chocolate and did the sprinkles and shit. I went like, this was like 2017, so yeah, I was going all out.
Did you cut a point into the wafer to make it look like a unicorn?
I didn't even go that far. I feel like that came after me. But yeah, and I made birthday cake sprinkle shots that were like way too much alcohol because I just wanted to be cute, and we were all like sloshed.
Oh my god.
And we went to the Mexican restaurant next door, and we're just like, everyone was wearing, I made unicorn horns out of cardboard
Everyone
and
was
glitter.
wearing their
Oh,
unicorn
my
horn.
A bunch of 25, 7-year-olds.
I think we should do that.
I would wear a unicorn horn.
We
can do
it. We got to do
And mermaid.
wigs.
I like doing unicorn and mermaid. I have the glitter, so let's go. I have like lots of glitter, and I'm
We could
finding
be mermicorns.
There's glitter all over you.
I literally have glitter all over me from my show. Like,
Did I tell you about that when we went to Dirty South Yoga? Which there's so many stories, but this particular story was we went to the pre-party. What is it? You know, the night before they had the celebration or whatever, and they were doing like glitter stuff on people's faces.
really?
And so we went and got our
Of
glitter
course.
on, and then washed it off that night. And somehow, because we did yoga that night too. My yoga mat had glitter on it for months
I love it.
and years.
You probably don't like that.
Doesn't go away.
I like that. That's my thing. Like when
Yeah.
I was younger, my stepmom didn't let us use glitter or let me have glitter.
for that
And
reason.
yeah, and it's like I like it. I like leave a trail of light everywhere I go. Like, you know, like a fairy.
This fits
But
right in.
I get if you have a certain aesthetic in your home, you don't want glitter everywhere. But to me, I'm like, oh, glitter. Someone with glitter. Like, I think it's great that it's everywhere. I feel like there's never.
I like that with confetti too.
Yeah, like to me, it's delightful. Like when I
So
see a
you
sidewalk
just
with glitter.
reminded me
it's
of
like
an
a party.
Instagram
Yeah, party.
post I saw. It was a mom talking about her kid, and she said the 4-year-old is pissed. She thought we were traveling by ferry, F-A-I-R-I, instead of
Ferry.
F-E-R-R-Y.
That would be
And I, like, for a moment, was in the little girl's head, and I was like, I
Yeah.
do this too.
I would too.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
disappointing. Yeah, very disappointing. I did
It
go on a
is
ferry
disappointing.
in Corpus Christi last weekend, and we saw, as soon as we got on the ferry, we were front row, and there was a dolphin. We were just like,
That's cool.
okay, this is cool. So cool. Just too many things.
Speaking of fairies and all that, so Elizabeth and I decided that I need you to decorate my backyard with
Oh yeah,
Very
we were
soft.
talking about putting our
Well, and the
light catchers.
Yeah, okay. I'm so glad you
on
said
the
that.
branches.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that because Elizabeth gave me the idea and I was like, that's where it is. Like, this is good. These fun, beautiful, like, jewelry type looking ones are nice. But I think my mission is to bring the glitter outside. And so you
could do fairy parties.
I'm going to do, and yard decorations. Like,
yeah.
And I told Elizabeth too. Oh, I'm so excited. Whoa. Calm down.
Don't take this idea. I will get you.
I know.
Trademarked.
I was telling Elizabeth though that in Mexico when I started my candle business, I was so obsessed with it being like all natural. I needed local beeswax. I needed like doTERRA oils, which I have and got from someone there. There's Mexican salespeople of doTERRA too.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, baby. And super expensive in pesos as well. And I obsessed about the ingredients all being like natural that it stunted me from even, I started and then I burned out. So I'm like grateful that I have that recognition of I can balance it and work towards fully sustainable things and not contributing to any, what are the words? You know what I'm trying to say? I don't want to like Amazon it.
Oh,
yeah. I don't want to over Amazon it. And I don't
want
want
to be proud and build a company that is serving the world.
Yeah. I want it to be a serving thing and I don't want to just be cheap about it and use something that comes from a not great source. I'm trying to say it nicely. I don't know. But I also
sustainability.
Yeah, I want to focus on sustainability, but I also know that it's not possible in the world we live in right now to be fully sustainable with how I'm starting this. So that means I'm going to work towards that, and I have a good feeling that it's going to work out really well. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited because I'm going to find things that already exist. I love to like rescue things and refurbish things, and I'm not just going to order like a bunch of stuff from Amazon just to make it work. I'm going to start with supplies I can find locally, and then if I need to use Amazon for like fishing line or whatever, that's fine. And then I'll like improve my process. But for now, I just want to create magic for people in their natural backyard natural habitat. Like Elizabeth said, she had a perfect place, like her garden or whatever, and she didn't want to put the sun catcher I made out necessarily because it's probably not weatherproof or it might get rusty or whatever. And so I just got all these ideas. And also in Mexico, a lot of people use nature as their canvas, and it was very inspiring to me. And I felt like I don't know. I felt like I was in my little girl dream.
Yeah.
And then when you said that, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. It's like an outdoor bringing the light. I don't know yet. I'm brainstorming out loud as we speak. Sorry. I gotta calm down.
But I like what you said, bringing
fairy
in
parties.
the fairy parties or the tea parties.
Yeah, like, making people's like blessing their not blessing it, but like bringing like an offering to your piece of nature that you have in your backyard and bringing the magic out of it.
Yeah.
Like finding the faces in the tree and then like adorning it a little with something. And like you have your we talked about this, like your little
fade trap.
Your what?
My fade trap.
Yeah, your fade trap. You have a trap
space.
It's a fairy that's trying to trap you.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up.
You trap it back? Okay.
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily or you like go into a different dimension or whatever.
She has a goalie. Rachel has a goalie back there, and I can make it fern goalie.
Yes. You should see it. It's so grown in right now.
It's beautiful from what I saw last time. The wildflowers that you put on your Instagram. It's like, as also too, I can put seed mixes in people's like weedy areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, I'm done.
we love it.
I'm so excited. Yeah, the inner child thing is like real. For real.
Ideas.
What else?
Look at that. We're on there. Isn't that weird? I thought that was right now.
Oh, whoa.
So I still have my Instagram open on.
I'm doing my hand motions.
And we did our live, and now it's playing back. And I'm like, does that mean it right now? And I was holding my hand like this. I'm still holding my hand like that.
I was
like,
watch because every time Rachel moved, I was like, is it moving? It's crazy.
I know, I'm like, am I moving right now? I am moving right now.
So it is, Mercury is it still
retrograde? Yeah.
Till like the end of August.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
28.
So we got a while. And it's,
what'd you say?
Leo.
Oh, Lionsgate portal?
Yeah.
888, because it's August 8th in 2024 equals 8 in gematria. So, or numerology.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so tonight you set your intentions. So basically what I've gathered from it is that it's a big deal because of how the infinity, and I also just...
the 8.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. But it's something about like this alignment with the pyramids does something.
Okay.
In history. So it's like the 888, like it lining up. Like last year, there's always a Lionsgate portal on 88, but this year it's 888 because the year is 2024.
Oh my gosh.
So it's basically what Elizabeth said really reflects this, is that this particular transit in astrology is bringing up a lot of shit that you thought you solved, and it's bringing up a lot of the emotions associated with those things. So if people are feeling like...
Including guilt.
Yeah, guilt is mine. So if people are feeling a little squirrely, sorry, that's what it is. And I mean, it's whatever you believe, but that would make sense that this particular conjunction is in our bodies, since they're water. It's like kicking up certain things or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah,
I asked people. So every year on around the 8th day of the 8th month of the year, August 8th, there's a cosmic alignment called the Lionsgate portal. The portal marks the time of consciously observing the amplified cosmic energy flowing between the physical and spiritual realms, which are represented by the figure 8. It points to the possibility of infinite expansion, union with the realms of spirit, integration of higher levels of light, and aligning with abundance.
Yes, and the veils between the worlds are a little, that's like making the 8. So that's why if you have a lot of weird coincidences happening, that's sort of, that makes sense, because the veils are like, doing something. So
but this is also a good time to manifest abundance.
Yes.
Yeah, acknowledge what needs to be shed with gratitude and love and release, and call in. It's like an exchange, the 8.
Make room.
Yeah, it's
That's
literally
good stuff.
let it come up, all the shit come up, and then at the apex or at the cross point, you sort of accept it and then put back what you want. And it's like, okay, all right, cleaning out. And then there's bring up the shit, clear it, and then put what you want back. And there's this video that I came across where this woman talks about the infinity tool to use in your mind, and it's also physically in a walk. Like if you take 2 rocks in your hand, she said, and you just to let your body know that you're about to do something, because what you're going to do is walk in a figure 8, and you put the rocks, she said, 3 meters apart, like 3 feet away from your center, and then you walk around it, and then in a figure 8. So like you're the notch, and then so I did this. Well, let me just explain a little more about. It's basically a way to just get your body. If you make that, it's a sacred geometry shape. So if you're moving in that, it's kind of like you're counting your beads or whatever. Like your body gets in that repetition. It's like, oh, okay. The ego's like, wait, I can't operate here because we're in a pattern. I'm used to chaos. So, I mean, the ego's always there, but it basically shuts your monkey mind up. And so if you have a pure intention and you walk and you sort of repeat or whatever, I don't know. I've only done it once yesterday, right after I watched the video. But you just sort of do it, and like for example, it could be guilt. Like I feel a lot of guilt here when I think about this person, right? I'm going to transmute this, like, and you just think that, and you just walk for a while, and it's sort of like a meditation thing. I don't know. And she said you can do it also like in your mind, which I did that in my meditation this morning.
You can just visualize the 8.
Yeah, you can, and I visualize it going through the heart center. So for me, it was going this way, out the back, and out the front. And I did it for my meditation this morning through all the chakras, instead of just like with not beating myself up about not doing my Ashtanga every morning. I did a new meditation, and I was like, are you sure? And I did it, and it felt so good, and it only took like a few minutes, and I was like, whoa, that was way more powerful than forcing myself through a guided meditation, which I love too. But anyway, so yesterday I did it, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm just so excited how it worked out. I was driving around to Lula Gorge looking for a place to jump in the water, and I didn't want to pay to go to the park because I still have a poverty mentality. And so I was like, because I'm going to do it on my own. Like, I'm not part of the basic tourist people, which is such bullshit. But I'm still me. So I ended up finding, I was just driving around and I ended up going up towards Clayton, and there's this garden art yard store thing, but it was closed, and right next to it was a campsite and it was open. And I was looking for the store and just ended up in this campsite, and it was completely empty and gorgeous. It was like a dream. Like, it looked so alive and beautiful, and there was no one there. There was little cabins and little like tree houses, and I was just like driving through like, where's the garden store? Like, where am I? And I just parked in a campsite, and it was like, welcome to our camp cabin. It was so quaint and beautiful, and I was like, and I like got out and was like, and just walked right to the river and just sat and communed and meditated on the rock for like 30 minutes. And when I got up, I was like, well, I guess I'm not getting in trouble, but I'm not going to take advantage. And I heard myself go, okay, it's time to go. You got what you needed. I touched the river. I felt the resonance of it. I felt it was just very spiritual and so magical. And I was just like, thank you. Like, I don't deserve this. This is freaking awesome. And then as soon as I turned around to go back to my car, there was a freaking Buddha looking at me. And I had missed it on the way down because I was like, where am I? I don't know. And he was laughing, and I was like, love you, like laughing at me, like, because I was starting to get in my head. And I ran to the Buddha, and I was like, this little guy. And I felt so much gratitude, and my heart just like burst open. I was just like, like, it was so cool. I just couldn't even believe it. I literally in my head driving was like, I want a place by myself to commune with I asked for it in my head, not really with an intention or anything. I was just thinking of like what would feel nice. And it freaking happened.
Intention.
It was, but I wasn't like doing the thing where I'm like, I have to do it this way. It was like the intention just was natural, and then the universe gave it to me, and it was, I couldn't even write it better. Like, and so I sat with the Buddha for a while, and that's when I picked up the rocks and did the infinity walk.
Cool.
And I said, I'm calling in my divine alignment with the right timeline, or like whatever. I don't know what I said. It just like, normally I overthink these things, and I feel like it sounds corny, and I'm like, I'm not going to say that. That's what the girl with 1 million followers says, and she's fake or whatever. I literally just like said what came to my mind, and I did it, the infinity, and I felt my cells like open up. Like, it really felt like I was doing something. And yeah, so hopefully I called in what I called in. We'll see. But it was magical. I have a video. I'll show y'all. It was just, I couldn't even, like, there was like, not wisteria, but these like romantic giant floppy leaves like surrounding this cottage. And I was just like, where am I? And when I drove out, when I drove out, I saw it. It just says like, call to check in. Like, it's a trusting like campground, and they have no attendant. And I felt like, at first I felt like a trespasser when I realized I was in the middle of the campground, but then I just trusted spirit and source to like get a message to me, and then left no trace and just drove away and was so grateful and didn't look back. Like, you know, it's one of those things. And now I want to go back and pay to camp there.
I was going to say now, but that's why it was there, because now you will do it through, you will call to check in.
I'm not going to like trespass, but it was kind of trespassing, but not really.
But
you know?
weren't, because you weren't staying there.
I literally didn't know. I was like, is the entrance to the store somewhere? And that's when I was just like, this is one of those meant to be things. I'm just rolling with it. So, and I was very conscious of like, I probably shouldn't be here, but I let the rock and the river guide me.
And the Buddha.
And the Buddha confirmed that I was in the right place for that short time. And then he said, okay, you can go now. You know,
bring money when you come back.
Yeah, exactly. It was beautiful. So yeah, that's it. I'll pull it up.
I love it.
It was so cute. And so that's what I needed.
About a closeout time?
Yes, but do you have a piece of that video that I can attach to the end of this?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll put a little serene.
This is just
video
the river
for you.
Yeah, we'll add it, but like, it was all to myself. It was this huge
and
campsite.
it's such a quiet river.
It was so quiet, yeah.
And a rock.
Yeah, I literally like sat on there, and then I laid down for a minute, and I was the whole experience was about like 20 minutes, you know? Because I thought, I could jump in here, and I was like, girl, you're trespassing, I think. So, but then I did end up finding a river spot legit, and I went down, and it was absolutely perfect. And I just like stood at the edge, looked in, was like, I don't like the like gooey, like I'm a beach sand person or take me to the deep water. I don't like the lakey. Anyway,
You walk through the gunk.
I don't like the gunk. But I literally looked down and I was like, I'm gonna walk in. And I just like went in and like dove in and did like a little flip and was like, and then got out. That's all I needed. I just wanted to dunk. And when I got out, I just felt like I had a little cleansing, like a little baptism. It was nice.
Aww.
It was like, thank you, water. And then I could leave. It's very in and out. It's really nice.
I like it.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing your adventures.
Thank you.
I love your adventures.
They are
And
fun.
by the way, if you have time when you are in Alaska, can you take some videos and not necessarily send them right there, but like just take some videos so we can.
Yeah.
I would love to make like a
filming the
whole
time.
Yeah, I would
I'm
love
just
to
gonna be like,
do a whole thing
Oh,
of
cool.
like your adventures.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You
Here's
could
the
do like a daily vlog.
Yeah, I probably will. I think it's a video. That's my little Buddha.
Oh.
And there's the surroundings that I was in. It was
wow.
just gorgeous. Like, yeah. Very pretty.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. There's Buddha.
Oh, he is laughing.
He was like,
Don't
I was like,
laugh.
I know. It was so sweet.
Yeah, well, maybe the little Buddha video that you have, we'll put at the end of this. Sorry, my eyeball. All right, we're going to go.
Okay.
It
Good
was
night.
great chatting with you folks.
See you next time,
One
guy.
This one. Oh.